Now, we present you Gauthier Bastien. He is team leader at Himio, and Olivier Dollard is developer at Himio 2. And we are together in the same team. He talk about using Plone to build a business application.
Thanks. Hello, everyone. I know it's hard to be this early. Trust me, I know. So we built a complex, really hard complexity on the workflow and the access right with Plone. We will talk about two applications of the same solution. Yadelib, which is the main core and the main business app, and Delibration.be, which is more like a portal to export data to the people. Yadelib is quite famous in Belgium. We have a lot of customers. And what are you doing? So this much customer is quite a challenge. I think Gauthier will speak about it later. But we have a team of 5 people. We are managing a lot of applications, and this application is quite complex. Too loud? Okay. It's quite complex, but all the nasty stuff, I save it for Gauthier because he knows better. Who are our customers? Basically, they are municipalities, they are police zone, they are firefighter, they are public social help, and so on. Everything that's public, but at the low level of hierarchy, like public, but close to the people. And now, wow. And now, this is a simple version of our workflow. You see there is a lot of steps, a lot of process, because Yadelib is an application, for the municipality administration to build a decision point that goes through the administration to the council, and then is discussed in the council, and after the council it's shared with the people and so on. I won't talk a lot about the workflow because I know nasty stuff is for Gauthier. And
okay, thank you. So I'm still a little bit at the party. It's okay like that. So what we do here with Plone is something that is not current, and it's not do often. We build an application with it, and to do so, we are using some specific package for the team, for example, to manage dashboards. We need also to manage generation of desktop documents like PDF, docx, Excel files, and so on. And we need also to manage contacts, so people and organizations in the application. And to us, the workflow is a very basic and important piece of the application. With all these tools, 2 years ago, some years ago, we built a new application in 3 weeks. In 4 weeks, we had an application with dashboards, document generation, and so on. So it's very quick to build a new application. So we use the stack collective contact and collective EFStit. All this is in the collective to build the applications. So there are some package to ease management of contacts. So to describe in the application your organization, And we also have package to extend the Festit navigation to build a real dashboard with searches and so on, with predefined searches. So, as I said, the workflow is very important in the application, because finally it's here a basic example. So yes, we needed to be able to build workflows easily, and so what we do here is still using the default DC workflow engine, but instead describing the full workflow in XML, we use another package that is called collective workflow adaptations. So the point is, you have a minimum workflow described in XML, and then you will apply what we call adaptations to the workflow. So, for example, it will add new states, or it will change the transitions and so on. So that's something we use to design the workflows. So still based on DC workflow, what we discovered with Plone finally to build applications is that most of the tools are already in Plone. So we use the DC workflow. We were using ArcGen.xml at that time. So everything is in Plone to build application. Something we added to the DC workflow is what we call a guard that will, for example, today, a transition may be done or not, and if not, it is not displayed. But something we added is a way to display a grayed button. So instead, not having a button to trigger a transition, you have a button, but it's grayed, and when you go over it, it tells you why you cannot do the transition. So it's something very interesting in some case, because it gives the user a hint why he's not able to trigger the transition. We are simply using the permissions and local roles that are in Zob and Plone by default. So security in the application is very important for this application, because it's managing council, city council, and so on. And there are some items that relate to people or salary, career evolution. So it's very important that the security is performant to avoid having access to items that you cannot. And there, well, Zob and Plone offers this by default. So we are still using also the searches in Plone with the allowed roles and users portal catalog index. So out of the box, I would say, all this is available. We just use what Plone offers. We are just using an additional product that is called Dexterity Local Roles Field that will link local roles to the organization. If you are interested, we can talk about it. And so what we did last year is working on caching and performance. So and all this again is in Plone by default. So we are using Plone app caching and Zob RAM cache to speed up the application. There is many talks today and during the conference about the front end. Here it's more about the back end, how to have a performant back end too. It really changed the application to add caching, and we did some some benchmarking, and we have no, even on big organizations, response of less than 1 second for any page. So it's very, and we are not using, we are still not using Solar or Elasticsearch and so on. So still out of the box.
Neither we are using Varnish.
Yeah, no, not Varnish too. We are using Plone app caching and Zopram cache, and it's very powerful. In fact, by default, Plone is doing too much finally. For example, when I have this here. So here are the metadata that we use. By default, there are 36 metadata in Plone 6. Here we have 59. But a problem we see in Plone by default is that when you reindex an object, by default, it will update every metadata. So even when you reindex a single index, let's say reindex the created index, it will by default reindex every metadata. And metadata are not always data stored on the object. There are sometimes computation, like for example, to get the last comment date. There is an adaptation on the object to get the discussions and so on. So updating the metadata at each reindex is not very performant, so we adapted that to avoid it. Today, I think that we're still using what Plone offers by default. And our biggest organization today, it's 1,000 users. 500 to 1,000 new items created every week. They are in production for 8 years now, and there is 200,000 items in the element. We are reaching 1 million records in the catalog. Still using the default catalog, the default Plone catalog. Yes, it's 30 gigabytes EODB with 700 gigabyte blobs, and it's only using 30 gigabyte of RAM. So with a default Plone installation, but optimized and tweaked. So it's still performant, I would say, out of the box. We see here, it's just a snapshot that we take of the undo log. And we see that there is, yes, a transaction every second, and so on. And it doesn't finally provoke too much conflict errors, because what we do now is trying to make transactions as little as possible. So when it's the problem with default transaction in Plone is that it is too big. There is a full reindex and so on. And here we try to make as little as possible, and we avoid many conflict errors. So yes, I will try to, I think, on the, yeah. So we optimized to still be very quick with 1 million records in the Potar catalog. As Olivier said, we have 250 organizations using the same application. So when we do optimizations for large organizations, the small and are still using the same application. So we just have to take into account large organizations, and it's okay for everybody. Indexation process was optimized using a Potar catalog, default Potar catalog, so we still not go to Elasticsearch or Solar. I try to, yes, and there is also other problems with dexterity, old archetype, but dexterity, handlers, and form. When you save a form in dexterity, it's doing some things 2 or 3 times. So it's something we solved too. For now, as said, it's still using Plone 4, so old versions of Dexterity, but the problems are still there in Plone 6. So when we are moving to Plone 6, normally next year, we will try to move all these optimizations to the default Dexterity, if still necessary. So we are using Plone app caching. That's a very impressive tool to speed up things. Even if here we are always logged in the application, so we cannot use a varnish or so. But with Plone app caching, something that is interesting is that XHR queries are not cached. So you may propose a page that are cached, and some part of the page may be updated using XHR queries that will not be cached. So we changed to, and we propose an issue on the Prime cache. The default storage has been changed to, because today, by default in Plone, when you have something in the cache, there is a timestamp, and the cache is valid for, let's say, 600 seconds. And after 600 seconds, it is cleaned and cached and computed again if necessary. What we changed here is that the timestamp is updated the last time the cache is used. So instead, a cache living for 600 seconds, it's updated. The timestamp is updated each time the cache is accessed. So it continues to live longer. Yes, but the storage, the RAM cache storage is an adapter, so we changed this, and we are discussing an issue on Prime cache to move this to the default storage, or to propose this as an optional storage. We are still not using RAIL storage also, so well, it's just a default application. As we said, we have dashboards in the application, so it's here a dashboard with yes, many things that are displayed. What we try to do is to avoid conflict errors, is to do as small transactions as possible. So, for example, what we have here is inline editing of rich text. So instead of editing the full form, you just edit one single rich text, and then you change, you save, and it will just reindex the searchable text, and not all the metadata, not all the, it will not save all the fields and so on, and this avoids conflict errors. What we have here, yes, we have also the possibility to display several faceted searches on the same page. We are using pop-ups and so on to avoid, to speed up things, to avoid computing too much things. Yes, that's common. So something else in the by default in Plone that is very interesting to build applications is the ZCA. So we are using it very much at the beginning, but as we said, 250 organizations using it. It become very complicated with the legacy to manage all this. So what we do now is to provide and to propose through the web parameters. So we have a huge configuration panel with many parameters, and so we are using ZCA only when necessary or for low-level adaptations. But for the final client, finally, we propose parameters in the UI, and yes, that's very. That lets us manage so much organizations with different needs, and yeah. So here, for example, is a page in the configuration with several parameters. Something else too that is out of the box in Plone is a process to. So we are the first version of the application was using Plone 2.1.2. We are now in Plone 4.3.20. We are moving to Plone 6, obviously. And most of the content types are moved from archetypes to dexterity. There is 2 content types, I think, that still need to move to dexterity. We use the in-place migration from Plone 2 to Plone 4, so we really have old database. So the oldest database is 17 years, I think, and it was in-place migrated for in Plone 2.1, 2.5, Plone 3, and so on, and still it's still working without problems. So yes, I know there is some fight between in-place or export import, but we are using the in-place migration, and I think it's working very well. And what is interesting is that it's there in Plone by default. So it's a mechanism of Plone that we use simply because it's proposed. And so I think, again, this is something in Plone that lets users be confident, and you are really able to build huge applications because you know that there is a migration process that you can use to make it evolve. So I will continue, okay. Olivier.
So just to summarize some key points about IADLib. We build like a monster application, which has got even monstrous over the years, and today it's really huge. So we are facing quite a lot of challenge, and also new realities. Like this application is here to face a new reality, decision to bring the politics and stuff that decided inside the municipalities back to the people, because you know. You vote for someone, you elect a bunch of people, and then you don't care at all. You let him go, and you don't feel like it's your stuff, you know. And this is what they are bringing back, trying to bring back with this platform. I will do a quick demo, if it works. I think this one, okay. No. Okay, so this is the portal. This is the front page of this app, and you can select one municipality. Wow, like a big municipality like Liège. Up. Trackpad is hard. Okay, and then you have, you know, this is a council meeting. It's not already happened, but it's already shared with the people, you know. So you have the access to the decision beforehand, and so if you are interested in it, you can go to the council because it's public, anyone can go, and you can read it, you can consult it, and so on. So basically, that's the global idea of the portal. There is also a big difference with IADLib. First is Python 3 and the latest Plone 5.2. Second is absolutely not the same target user. This is for everyone, and IADLib is really like a business app for business people in the municipalities and so on. So deliberation.ba is quite way more simple. Again, standard Plone, a few add-ons. That's like that's how we like it. It just, you know, Plone provides enough by itself. Like Gauthier said, even in monstrous IADLib, we just use Plone without any varnish and any well storage, no, just Plone. And the data comes from IADLib, goes through deliberation.da, but not all the data because, you know, there is something that's called GDPR, and it's not enough for the customers because anonymity is great, but they have a need that you cannot even know who they are talking about, at least not before they are discussing it in live. So sometimes it's quite complicated. About the web services, in Edit, we customized, we use Plone REST API, but we had to customize some endpoint because, you know, there is always some little thing that need optimization, and we are also providing these endpoints to, you know, other apps that are third party, and so it needs to be really clean, really, you know, shrinked, and really precise. And I think that's it. No. Conclusion, I think I already did it, but, you know, Plone Toolbox, very great. We are optimizing really some little stuff because we have a huge database, and thank you community because everything works so well. Does anyone have questions? No? Yes? Mike?
I'll repeat the question.
Okay.
So one slide you have WS in and out. You mean there are workspaces in and out or staging?
No, it's a web service in and out.
Web services in and out.
Yeah. So Fred was asking is WS in one slide was web workspace, but no, we put a WS like web services. Okay. Okay. Other question? Yes.
You talked about catalog optimization. Is that piece of work somewhere available as open source? Or?
Yes, everything is on GitHub. You know, so we are asked if everything is open source and so on. Yes, everything is on GitHub. Everything is you know, public, and you can use it if you want. So, anyone else? No. So I guess that's it. Thank you.